y'all. I'm Dennis Whitehurst with Drill Right Chemical, your host today on our One Foot at a Time podcast. We're here today at Ditch Witch Louisiana with special guest Trevor Duncan, and I'd like to welcome you to our podcast.
Yeah, man, it's great to be here. I'm excited.
Good. You know, we really enjoyed doing this, and once I found out we was going to be doing one with you, it's been really exciting. Want to get into a lot of your family business, how this all evolved, and how it became what it is today. And I know you're very active in this business, and looking forward to hearing about it. We're going to start off talking about the early years, your family roots. What's your earliest memory of this being in this business here at the dealership?
Man, I think the earliest memories, some of my earliest memories are coming up here. My dad would bring me up here on the weekends while he was, working on equipment and just doing stuff around the shop, and he would just let me loose in the back. I think it started off with me riding four-wheelers, and then I was riding dirt bikes, and then next thing I know, I was riding all the tractors and just tearing up mud and just having a good time and getting dirty. And
right.
That's ever since then, it's just kind of been a part of my life where I come up here all the time. So.
Yeah, you've got a great business here, and tell us a little bit how it started. Tell me about your grandfather. I know he was the one that got this going in the early years. Give us a little background on that.
So my grandfather, my family's originally from the Broken Arrow, Tulsa area, up in Oklahoma. And my grandfather, he started selling equipment at Sooner Equipment in Oklahoma City. And then he ended up, I guess, doing well there, and he ended up opening up a dealership in Tulsa, did well there, and then he got the opportunity to purchase a dealership down here in Louisiana. So he moved my family down here, and I think it was 1977. And I think my dad was in high school. My uncle was probably 8 years old, and they've been here ever since. So,
well, you guys have a great family business here. At what point did you realize, you was here growing up, and at what point did you realize that, man, this is something special here?
So I was, I had to be probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 years old. We had gone up to Oklahoma for Thanksgiving one year, and this was the first time I'd ever got to go up to the Ditch Witch factory. And my dad brought me up there, and I'd heard the stories about Ed Malzahn, the founder of Ditch Witch, and man, I was excited. I ran up in there and I went up to the front desk and I was like, "Is Mr. Ed here?" And sure enough, the lady called back and said, "Mr. Ed, you got a visitor." And he came out, and he that was back when those little Segways, like if you can imagine the mall cop, those little things that they'd ride on. He had one of those, and he took me all around the factory, gave me a factory tour, and I think from that point on, I've always been hooked on Ditch Witch.
That's a great story. That's a great story. I didn't realize kind of how everything tied in with Ditch Witch, and I remember in the beginning when we was trying to build Drill Right up and get a dealer network going, and the first time I was up north, you guys come on board right after we got building our network, and I was up north talking to some people, and they noticed, that we had Ditch Witch in Louisiana, and they're like, "Oh, the Duncans, these guys." And it was like everywhere I went, I kind of thought you guys were kind of a Southern thing only. It was like everywhere I went all over the United States, you guys became one of our best references, because I think your family, integrity and, everything you guys have brought to the industry just shines across the country. And I don't even know if you guys realize that.
It's really cool. And Ditch Witch and just our industry in general, it's a tight knit community, and I've got relationships with people all the way up in Washington State from, over to the East Coast,
I believe it, because everywhere I go, everybody knows you guys. I mean, your family's very well known in this industry.
I really enjoy going to some of those equipment shows and getting to hang out with everybody that, I don't get to see on a daily basis. But,
when getting into your business, like what was the very first job you did when you realized you had your own little job here at this?
So my place back then, I was 12 years old first time I came up here to start working, but because I spent so much time on the weekends driving the equipment and stuff, my job was to mow the grass. And so I would come up here and mow all the grass, move all the equipment, mow. And then once I got that done, my dad would hand me a weed eater and just say, take off. And then I would clean equipment. And it's kind of funny. My first day on the job, I'd mowed the grass, done my weed eating, and started washing some equipment, and my hands are all dirty. And I didn't know no better. I took the pressure washer and just sprayed it on my hand to clean my hand off. Well, I had that zero tip on, and I cut my finger open and went to go show it. And sure enough, my dad fired me on the first day. He said, "Don't come up here and hurt yourself."
Yeah. Well, you don't know till you hit it the first time. I know. I've done the same thing. So, was there ever a time that you thought, man, I don't want to do this?
Man, I think growing up in it, that has always crossed my mind. Just like what going and doing something else. But deep down inside, I don't think so. Yeah. I think this is always what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be.
We've got our family business as well, and my sons work with me, and I know some of the stuff that you go through. And I know they went through times and things like that. So I was curious if you ever had that feeling at one time you didn't want to be a part of it.
When I was young, I wanted to be a professional wakeboarder. So there was that little period where I just thought that would pay the bills. But the older I got, the more I realized that that wasn't the case.
You brought that up. I think we should expand on that because I didn't know that you was as good at that as what you are. My sons had come down to visit you guys here a while back, and you took them out on the boat.
I got to get Dylan and Dawson out there. It was awesome.
Yeah, and they come back and they were like, "Man, Trevor's he's like a professional," and I was like, "Really?" And they showed me videos, and you was like just killing it. So tell us a little bit. I think you had to go through a lot of learning, and tell us, did you ever win anything big? Tell us a little bit.
So I grew up. I think probably whenever I was really young, 7 or 8 years old, I hopped on a wakeboard the first time, and my uncle he wasn't satisfied with me just riding. He started taunting me, telling me to do a flip. So that's when it started, and then I was probably 11 years old, 10 years old whenever I landed my first flip. And then I think from that point on, I wanted to learn something else. I wanted to do something else. And I think it all started because my dad, and my grandfather and my grandma, my uncle, everybody in my family is always water skied. So, I had that passion from a real young age. But then, as I got older and started getting into competitions, I started getting to meet all kinds of other people that water skied, and I'd have friends, and we'd start competing against each other, and we'd push each other to learn new tricks, and it was just fun because it was a little community of people that all enjoyed the same thing. So
have you ever won any competition?
Yeah. I used to win competitions all the time. And then actually, my senior year of college, I won the collegiate national competition. So,
no kidding.
Yeah. It was,
that's amazing. I knew you was good. I didn't know you was that good.
As far as feeling like I got to end my wakeboard career on top, that was definitely it.
That's great.
And I still get to wakeboard all the time. I actually get to wakeboard now more than I feel like I have gotten to do it in the past couple of years. But
well, you know what? I wish you the best in that. Yeah. I know the older you get, it probably becomes more challenging.
Yes, too, definitely. Things hurt a lot more. Yeah. The water isn't as soft as what it used to be.
Exactly. Do you remember the moment that you realized that you would soon at some point take kind of a lead role in this company?
Yeah, I think it was kind of whenever I was in college and would come up here. At the time, in our parts department, we just had shelves and we just had parts in numerical order on the shelf. So that old system, it was kind of outdated, and we ended up getting a lot of those big Vidmar, like filing cabinet style bins, and they were old. One of our customers had gotten a contract to remove them from the base. We have an Air Force base right here. And so I got all these old bins and during college I would come home on the weekends and I would sand them and paint them and fix them up and make them like new. So I think taking on that responsibility and doing all that, it was really I started taking ownership of that department, and that was kind of that was my little project.
You put your touch on it. Yeah, that's great. Working with your dad, I know, is not always easy. That's I know.
It's fun.
I worked with my dad. I lost my dad in 2001, but I worked with him up until he passed away, and it's it's got its challenges, but it's great. I love working with family, and now I've got my sons working with me. So, you know, was there a time that you and your dad did something big together that you remember that, you know, you just liked?
Man, I think there's so many times that they all kind of blur together. We actually just built a deck this past weekend, the big deck up at our lake house. And I mean, you can look around here, every little thing around here, there's been a project that we've done together. Like our countertops, we were talking about that earlier. Yep. We poured some concrete countertops for all around the building for our desks and for, you know, just the counters. And it turned out really well. And it's something that we can look at and know that we did it together.
And it's beautiful too. I mean, even this table here, this conference table is absolutely beautiful, and y'all did an amazing job on that.
Yeah, from a young age, we'd always done projects together, so it's always been pretty cool just learning how to do things on your own, and then just really taking that responsibility on.
What about traditions that have went on that you've brought new ideas maybe, or has there been any traditions that you guys have done?
It's kind of, I'm sure y'all have the same thing going on whenever, you know, younger generation comes in with new technology, that kind of stuff. You know, it's hard for the old heads to want to adapt to the new technology.
Hey, I can relate.
I've learned to just kind of phase it in over time. Yeah. It's one big thing for me, because I run our parts department, it's our reordering process. Like my grandmother, she's used to reordering everything by pen and paper and doing it, you know, the old school way. And I'm trying to implement like automatic stock reorders with our, you know, computers that can, you know, tell you how, you know, quantities and this and that. And she does not like that because she doesn't.
Well, hey, I relate to that more than you can believe, because we're getting some automation, you know, things built into our system too. And I'm still the type, you know, even when I talk to somebody, I want to write it down. Well, they're wanting me to use CRMs and, you know, things that, so that we have a better system. And I know that, you know, systems in place make a difference, but I think that's something that you younger guys are bringing to the industry, the systems in place that are making a big difference.
Well, I've been up here for so long that I've gotten a good understanding of how things used to run, and I know how things can run, you know, with the new technology. So it's being able to find that happy medium and implementing things, because you can't just overnight decide you're going to start automatically reordering stuff.
Oh no, it takes time to get the system built. How's the dealership now? Like when you come on board, realize that you had a full-time gig here. How is it different now from when you started? Like some different changes?
Definitely, the pace of operations is a lot more fast-paced now. You know, I mean, I'm sure everybody in our industry can attest to, you know, really since COVID happened, you know, I mean, I feel like everything's kind of gotten twice as busy. So just being able to adapt to that, you know, whereas in the past I was kind of a one-man band where I was taking care of my customers, reordering parts and doing everything all myself. Now I've got two guys working underneath me, and you know, I'm really able to manage them and let them focus on the customer. Whereas, you know, in the past I'd have to focus on the customer and reordering stuff. So, you know, I think it's getting better, because, you know, it's like we're growing at a rate to where we can allocate our resources in the way that we need to. So
I know you guys are real customer oriented. I know you guys are real tight with everybody you do business with, and everybody likes doing business with you. But is there anything that you can think of, like a customer situation that, you know, you kind of got involved in, or anything that you would like to talk about? Because I know you guys are heavily customer oriented.
Yeah. I mean, it happens all the time with us being, I mean, we just live 10 minutes up the road. Most of the time my customers have my cell phone number, and you know, if it's a weekend or if I'm, you know, if they're needing something, they can call me and, you know, I get them taken care of. And if I'm out of town, my uncle's here, or you know, somebody's around that can come up here and get them taken care of. And I mean, you don't understand how much they appreciate that when they're in a bind and on a Saturday, and they, you know, we're the only place within 3 hours that has what they need. So,
well, you guys do an awesome job at that, because there's been times, you know, we're pretty close to each other. I know there's been times that, we've had to rely on each other to help out. And you guys have always been top notch with, hey, yeah, send them over here. We'll get them taken care of. And sometimes, after hours even. And you guys just been great to work with. And your family's just phenomenal in this business. And, I can't say enough good about you guys. Everything you guys have done has just been first class, first class on everything. Even your dealership, I mean, the transformation you guys have turned this into is unreal. It's just you've went from the building you had to what you have now.
Yeah.
And it's night and day difference. And it just reflects on your whole family.
Yeah. No, that was a fun little project. We rebuilt our dealership in the past 5 years, and this was the same building that we had back in 1978 whenever we first moved down here. So we kind of did it in phases where we added on to the shop and then moved some of the offices into the shop. And it was really interesting, just the history behind this building and us being here for so long. It was fun.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I remember coming in here the first time to talk to you guys, and it was like, it was kind of like our place. It was real small, and, it was kind of tight. The guys at the parts counter were kind of talking over each other. And, it was now what you guys have today is like walking into a very nice showroom. Everything looks good. You've got a lot more room. And yeah, I think that enables you to conduct business even better, because everybody's not on top of each other. The industry today versus the industry tomorrow. Is there a time that you've seen the HDD industry shift that impacted your dealership?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, when COVID hit, man, it was, I mean, I'm sure everybody in the industry knows you couldn't get new equipment. And so that was a period where I think things did shift a lot because people had to learn how to be resourceful and figure things out on their own. And you were talking about, how much different things were back in the 90s compared to where they are today. Right. I think there was a period there where people were during COVID, where people were having to work hard and learn how to be resourceful. And
yeah, it was a struggle across the nation. I mean, it was, I remember the struggle everybody was having, like, getting, it wasn't just, it was the whole industry wide, but you couldn't get a machine. You couldn't get parts for machines. Yeah. I mean, there was, you guys had, what did that feel like? Was there ever a point that it was like?
So I was very proactive when all that hit. I was kind of trying to make sure I was covered and make sure my customers were covered, and I was ordering everything I could possibly order just to have it. Whenever there was lead times and back orders, and if they had it, I was ordering it because I knew I'd be able to sell it. Oh, yeah. And, I think that was just a period where things kind of shifted to where availability is big. I started to realize that, and now, because, I send parts to people all over the United States just because I have them, I mean.
Do you remember there being like a tough lesson learned on something that you got involved in that, just maybe you kind of learn, from not necessarily mistakes every time, but just things that have taken place?
I would say just, communication with, like, as you were talking about old traditions and newer, new stuff, it's like as a young person that's ambitious and wanting to implement these things, it's like, knowing that you can't just come in here and tell everybody this isn't how we're doing it. We're changing things up. We can do it differently now. You got to learn how to, and I think that's just, what your expectations are and then what the reality of the situation is, just stress that you put on yourself that's unnecessary.
No doubt. No doubt. Is there a point that you feel like that when you felt like, what, I'm ready for this next chapter in my life. I'm ready for this next chapter, what they're expecting from me here at the dealership. And you feel like that, you're taking that next step forward. Is there, about how long ago was that, do you think?
Really, like, well, I mean, I've had this big project going on where we've been rebuilding our shop. We just now kind of got settled in. That's been, we adding on buildings and all that. But I think really getting to a point to where I've got my employees running things how I would be running things and being a good manager. Like
Right.
I think learning how to do that and learning how to let people learn how to take ownership of things. It's
Learning to be a leader.
yeah. It's I think that's just having confidence with certain how this past year has gone and that sort of thing. I think that's kind of gives me confidence moving forward.
Well, looking ahead, what do you want the dealership to look like in 5 to 10 years? Because you're going to be a heavy part of that. You've got your dad and your uncle here too. Your grandma's here, but next 5 to 10 years there's going to be a lot more put on you as you grow into this. Where do you see it going? You see any major changes?
Man,
anything?
it's really, to be honest, hard to imagine, just because 5 years ago I didn't imagine the dealership looking like it does today.
It's amazing.
I mean, just the way the industry's growing. I would like to be able to, just keep everything just running smoothly how it is, and just being able to get the customer taken care of at a timely manner. I think as long as that's what our focus is, that's where we want to be.
Well, I know you guys will just continue to grow because, like I said, everybody likes y'all in this industry. Everybody, that everybody I run into, I mean, they can't say enough good about you guys. Once they find out that we know each other and that we do business with you, it's like they can't praise you enough. So I think you guys, that's something I would like you guys to know, that you're very well appreciated
We appreciate that.
and liked in this industry. The guys your age, that you guys are the generation that's going to take this industry to the next level. What is some advice you could give? Because there's a lot of guys your age and younger that we need in this industry in a bad way, because everybody's needing help. It's not just one state. It's not just one dealership. It's not just one company. Everybody's needing help
worldwide.
And you can relate to those guys that are fresh coming in. And what's some advice you could give them, to step in and take the chance to try this industry out?
Well, I feel like I kind of alluded to it earlier, but just being able to take ownership of what you're responsible for and where you want to be. I mean, you can't just expect things to just get done, and nowadays, you got to work hard to get where you want to be. So I feel like nowadays, I was blessed because I started working whenever I was 12 years old. So by the time I realized that, I was still at the age where most people are coming into the industry, so right. I feel like I really got a head start. But, I mean, if you take ownership of your department, whether you're the owner of it or not, I mean, people will respect that, and people will give you what you need to be successful,
Yeah. And that's the way I look at it too. You've got an opportunity. What you was granted was an opportunity here, but that doesn't mean that it's just going to work regardless. You had to take ownership of what you're doing. And the reason you're where you are in life right now is because you saw the opportunity and you accepted it and took the challenge, and you're, moving up.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like taking care of
that's, my hat's off to you, because there's a lot of guys, I'm proud of my sons that are in the company. And, I try to tell them that as well, that when you're part of a family business, it's an opportunity that you're given, but it's up to you to take that opportunity and run with it and make it what it is today. So my hat's off to you, because I know you do a great job here.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate everything y'all do, because y'all are great. Y'all provide, great service and a great product. And
well, your dad and your uncle, they can't be more proud of you. And I know you do a great job around here. Everybody likes what you're doing. And, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us.
Oh, yeah.
And is there anything you'd like to say before we close here?
I don't have nothing, no.
All right. Well,
So I appreciate y'all though and everything y'all do for us.
well, hey, I appreciate it. And, thanks for joining us today. And we look forward to doing it again sometime. And maybe we can come out and do some filming on your wakeboard.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, because it's very, very impressive. I was shocked. I didn't expect it when they showed me the videos.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
well, man, I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.